I'm sure everybody by now has found out that Cosby was found guilty for the sexual allegations he was charged with regarding, sexually assaulting multiple women, the Quaaludes, giving them without their authority or allegedly giving it to them without their authority or consent. And, when the verdict came out, I wasn't shocked because I've been sitting back watching this whole case. I haven't came out here and done a shitload of videos on Cosby because point blank period, I'm a little exhausted just hearing about, the whole Cosby thing. And then the second thing, I felt like part of this was Cosby's karma. Now, with that being said, I recognize when a black man is being framed. I recognize when a black man or black people in general, but I say especially black men, are not being treated fairly. And even though, and I've said this in previous videos that, I have my bones to pick with Cosby because I feel like over the years, Cosby has been very arrogant. Cosby is very self-righteous. We all heard the whole pound cake thing. And, even though I understood where Cosby was coming from, I'm also somebody who comes from, the quote-unquote inner city. I had the privilege of living in a middle-class area growing up and having a middle-class lifestyle, and then also living in poverty. So I know both sides of the fence. And, I felt like just like a lot of other black folks out here, I felt like Cosby was critiquing a group of people without, one, talking about the overall situation, and two, really understand the outs and ins of living in those conditions. So, me as well as other people out here, we have our bones to pick with Cosby. Again, he's out here trying to tell comedians what to do in their comedy routine. Like, he's the father of comedy. He tells people, what to do as far as when they step on that stage and they go to work and they generate the audience that they want to generate. So, Cosby's, quite frankly, has been an asshole over the years. He's talked about black folks in the public forum and around mixed company. So, I say that to say, I'm not somebody who, is going to, raise up the flag or throw up the black power fist for Bill Cosby, because quite frankly, I think he's turned his back and he's disrespected the very people who have been supporting him over the years. It was black folks who were supporting him before he became America's, favorite dad, and, the Cosby Show was a big hit. And before he really got that stamp from white America, it was black folks, those same black folks that he criticized, and I'm saying everything, is squeaky clean the black community, because it's not. There's a lot of things we need to work on. But the same people that he criticized and lectured without talking about the overall situation were the same people who supported him in his come up. So that's why, I feel like a lot of black people are looking at this whole Cosby thing saying, it's his karma. But, with that being said, when we look at this case and, we look at the lack of evidence, we look at the fact that these women waited, 30-some years before they came out and say, oh, yeah, Bill Cosby raped me. And then when we look at, what Cosby was doing beforehand, I know he had a lot of business ventures, that were in the process, somebody like a Bill Cosby with the economical power, with the cultural influence, can make a lot of moves, things that will benefit a lot of people. And one thing that, a lot of people who run the music industry, which is predominantly white folks, or, excuse me, not the music industry, the entertainment industry, which is, again, predominantly white folks, or the Jewish community, they don't want certain people having a certain amount of power. And whenever they feel like, a black man gets to a certain extent in his career, or they feel like he starts to capture not just the black audience or the black community, but start to capture America as a whole, and maybe people outside the country, they find it to be a threat, because they feel like if you have that cultural influence and you have that power, you can make, a lot of things happen. And, to Bill Cosby's credit, I just don't want to talk about the negative things that he's done. I want to talk about the fact that, Cosby was one of those guys who you know, inspired a lot of people. You know, he was one of those guys that say, you know what, I don't want my show to be in a quote unquote hood like all the rest of the show that you guys like to put out to the public forum. I want to have a successful father and a successful mother with kids that, you know, are not over the top but black children, and I want us to have that lifestyle and that homey image like you guys put out for white folks. You know, he was one of the guys that was pushing that. You know, he was a guy that, you know, motivated a lot of black people to go to HBCUs. You know, he was one of the guys that was donating money out here. He was one of the guys who helped, you know, Spike Lee finish, you know, in my opinion, the masterpiece, Malcolm X. He was one of those guys. So, you know, I don't want to throw it out there as if Cosby hasn't done anything positive for the black community. But at the same time, you know, he's done a lot of, or he said a lot of things that were very disrespectful, and he said a lot of things that were simply out of line, and he's critiqued a lot of situations and a lot of people that he just does not understand. So we have to look at it from both different sides. We can't just look at, you know, Cosby just being this, you know, great person and just, you know, he has done nothing wrong, you know, in his career, and then we can't just point out the bad stuff. But when it comes to this case, you know, it's sad that here it is, you know, all the things that he's done on an entertainment level or within the community or even white folks, because, you know, Cosby's done some stuff for white folks too. You know, he's given a lot of people opportunities, whether it was from within the black community or outside the black community. And then here it is, you have a group of women, you know, who come out and say, oh yeah, you know, I want to come out after all these years with, you know, no evidence. You know, that one chick, I forgot, that crater face looking bitch, she came out and said, yo, I fabricated part of the story, and they still convicted him. So, you know, for all that and everything that's come out, a lack of evidence, and, you know, basically the media painting him out to be guilty in a court of public opinion, you know, it's sad, you know, to see Cosby go down like that, because I'm all about, you know, justice. You know, I'm not about, you know, somebody getting over because they have a certain amount of money, or somebody even getting over because they're black. You know, I'm about justice. I'm about, you know, things being done correctly in a court of law, because this is people's lives. You know, now Cosby's kids, you know, I know he lost his son out here in LA. I remember that was a big thing, you know, when his son got murdered. And to this day, you know, because I'm from LA, okay, I've lived in LA and in New York pretty much all my life. Us black folks say that Cosby's son was murdered because of racist intent. But, you know, that's a video for another topic. But if you in LA, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you out here around that time, but, you know, it's sad that, you know, now the people close to him and, you know, his kids and his family and just his legacy as a whole is destroyed simply because, you know, these women came out and said this about him. Now, do I think Cosby is, you know, squeaky clean about him dealing with women? Do I think, you know, Cosby could have been a pervert? Yes, absolutely. You know, am I fully saying that he's not guilty? Maybe to a certain extent. I'm not saying that either. But what I'm saying is that when we got cats out here like George Zimmerman, we got Roman Polanski and all these other guys who have been charged with sexual harassment or raping women. You had what's that crazy looking dude, Charlie Sheen or whatever, came out and said, yo, I had HIV and I was still going around sleeping with women. I didn't see the media attack him like they did Cosby. You know, he probably right now is auditioning for another movie or another sitcom and will get the role after the allegations that came out, after he admitted what he did. So when we see cases like that, and we see time after time, we see people like, you know, police officers that overstep their boundaries, you know, abuse the power that they have dealing with citizens every day. When we see how, you know, you can go up to somebody, you can have car trouble, go up to a white man's door, aka, you know, Rashida McBride, and get shot in the face just for asking for some help and get off. When we see cops shoot down innocent black men, innocent black people in general, and nothing happens. Get to go on, keep their benefits, keep their career. Nothing happens to them. When we see cases like George Zimmerman, where he murdered a 17-year-old child, okay, walks off scot-free. When we see other guys coming out, that are being accused of sexual harassment or, raping or abusing their power, like Roman Polanski and, Willie Allen and all these other cats out here, and they, kind of just get swept under the rug. Nobody really talks about it. But then you got a black man like Bill Cosby that is accused, and within a snap of a finger, they jump on that case. The media is just prowling on this guy. Overnight, this guy's legacy is destroyed. I have a problem with that. And it just goes to show, the hypocrisy that we have in this country. And as I said before, and I said this the other day on social media when the verdict came out, when white women yell, people listen. Now, if this had been some black women that came out and accused Cosby of doing, certain sexual things or whatever, it would have been swept on the rug. I'm not saying that, he wouldn't have went to court or anything like that, but the media wouldn't have made a big deal out of it. People in general wouldn't have made a big deal out of it. And that's why, I say to my sisters out here, don't be so quick to, tear down Bill Cosby. I know there's a lot of sisters out here who have been sexually molested, whether you were a child or you were an adult. And a lot of you guys, and I've been seeing it everywhere, a lot of those, the victims or just if you've never been sexually assaulted, but you're just a black woman and you understand that, black women are the most disrespected women, disrespected people, in, the world. A lot of you guys are looking at this from a biased point of view, and you're saying, hey, even though the facts don't add up, even though we see how the media is pushing a certain narrative, you guys are going to join those same, people who practice white supremacy or the white woman's movement, the feminist movement. You're going to join them in attacking Cosby. I think you guys need to reevaluate yourselves with that. And you have to ask yourself, will the same care and concern be given for you guys if it was the other way around? So, again, I just think that, it's messed up, and I think that, Cosby was set up. I think that, a lot of things that, Cosby was accused of basically just didn't have any solid facts to really back up these stories. It was a lot of back and forth. You had a lot of people saying that they lied, in testimonies. You had things that just weren't adding up. You had the media that was pushing this whole narrative to tear down this man. And it's just, it's just sad that you could just say, you can come out and accuse a black man of anything and instantly you're believed. So, I mean, that's my 2 cents on it. It's messed up. This guy is what? I believe Cosby was in his 80s. And I've been hearing that they might put him on house arrest. But, they throw him in that jail cell. He's not going to last too long. He's really not. And again, I'm not saying Cosby is a saint. I have my issues with Cosby. I'm sure a lot of other black folks out there have issues with Cosby. But we have to look at this thing from a historical and realist point of view. I mean, this is the same game that was played with the Emmett Till case and many other cases involving black men and sexual harassment. Because anytime you want to take a black man down, you say they raped you or they sexually harassed you. And your career is over. Whatever you got going on, you're done.